What if a podcast really didn't have a point? But that was the point. This is the randomness of E, where we embrace the randomness of thought, one mental zigzag at a time. I'm your host, Just E. And if you've ever followed a thought down a rabbit hole, you're in the right place. You may also wonder if you've heard my voice before, and the answer would be yes. I also record a podcast named E Says, P Says with my hubby. E Says, P Says is about our marriage and relationship of 36 years. So if you haven't heard it, please locate it and take a listen on any platform you listen to podcasts. I created this podcast because, as I said, I wanted to share my randomness. You never know how sharing your journey can help someone else. If you are joining me for the first time, last week I discussed making it to 100 days. Yes, 100 days. It's not the AA or NA 100 days. That would be great too. It was 100 days of reading a book by Brianna Weiss. The pivot year, 365 days to become the person you truly want to be. And if you are here for the first time, hello and welcome. Where have all the manners gone? Recently, I had an incident where the word we was used in a hostile manner at an establishment I have been using for over 20 years. And amazingly, it was a person that should know me because you figure if you've been coming somewhere for over 20 years, people may pretend that they don't know you. But where I live, I am a black woman in a majority white community. So I may have gained or lost weight and changed my hair, but you know exactly who I am. And unlike the Ellen of 20 years ago, let's just say there are many people who have caught strays or justifiable hits when it comes to me and mine. LOL, my husband used to just shake his head because the best and worst part of being that angry that quick is I usually do not recall who I hit figuratively. So I'm sure that many people look at me cautiously to this day and wonder where that firecracker went. Unlike some, I have grown and realized I need to set a better example for my kids. But if you ask them, they will both say, my mom always had my back. LOL. And it didn't hurt that I am married to a teddy bear of a man, 6'5" and 300 plus pounds. He will not hurt a fly, but just him standing there is helpful when you go from 0 to 100 at any given moment. And it so happens that on this day, he accompanied me to my appointment, which he does from time to time. However, I'm grateful he did because God is not through with me yet. And when that lady came at me with that, we can't have this multiple things happening when you come in, I said, we, and who are you talking to? Because I usually come in, do my appointment, and go home. This particular time, I had another appointment after, and I asked to use a private space. However, when I asked, the person that assisted me did not know that I was the only person still completing their treatment. So when the quote unquote supervisor came in hot, capital HOT, I was like, this could have been relayed when I asked from the beginning, and I could have let my other party know I would be a little late, and I probably would not have been so heated. But the person that called me from the waiting room was just as ill mannered. And as I am waiting for her to open the door to go back to the waiting area, she is looking to the other person in the hall, and we're all looking at her, and she says, who are you? Not, are you Ellen? Who are you? What are we? Barbarians? And I said, you called me, didn't you? I guess because of the Caucasian name, she was expecting someone else. And then she thought she was going to assist me. How do people get these jobs in service areas and don't know how to communicate? I don't know. I don't know you. You have to speak. Shaking my head. And part of the problem I know is that we are all, capital ALL, overworked and underpaid. However, when you choose a career that has you in the Part of that position is to communicate professionally and clearly. If you can't do that, go home or work in the back, stocking shelves where you don't have to talk to anyone. Though I understood her attitude once the quote unquote supervisor spoke to me the way she did, and let's just say she may know me, but she was not the most communicative person throughout that time frame of me visiting this establishment. So why she was moved up, I have no capital N-O idea. However, the person that was there when I first started using their services wasn't that communicative either, but she was pleasant and would acknowledge you and help you when necessary. She was also approachable. I still remember her big blonde updo. Not her name though. I know I'm ranting, but it seems like after the pandemic, people have forgotten the niceties. I know we are all, capital ALL, going through our own personal stuff, but if you bump into me or need to pass, an excuse me is appreciated. And OMG, personal space. If we are in line, I don't know you. Back up. This is not a song. When I move, you move. Personal space allows me to take care of my business without you being in my wallet or pocketbook. I don't know you or your intentions. Back up. Capital BACKUP exclamation point exclamation point. Always ask yourself three things. If this were me, would I like that? And am I giving the person enough information to make the best choice? And did I deliver the message in a kind and nice tone like I would like to receive? If you can answer no, you need to reassess and figure out a better way to communicate. Like my family members would say to me in the morning if I didn't say good morning, did I sleep with you? The first time it was said, I was caught off guard. But once I understood, I said, good morning. And I am not a big talker, but my kids, husband, and I always do our best to thank each other, say good morning and good night when we are in the same areas, and say please and thank you. So remember, turn off the TV, tablet, and phone, and show your children how to be mannerly at home and in the public. It hurts no one to be kind and appreciative. That said, I was raised in Brooklyn, playing the dozens and getting bullied by the best. So when a certain tone is hit, it's like a trigger to my trauma, and you will get the bullet that drops in the chamber. I've also said I'm still working on some things. So when your approach is wrong, the switch is flipped, and I am Ellen 10 years ago, and you will get these words. I applaud those that are able to stay calm, cool, and collected in hostile situations. And I do know that I'm not always a target. However, remember, when you start a situation, you have no control over the response of the other party. So be ready. So please remember the two little magic words we learned in our early years. There are two little magic words that will open any door with ease. One little word is thanks, and the other little word is please. And the book, All I Needed to Know I Learned in Kindergarten, is so true because a lot of things we learned at 5 or 6 get beaten down as we go through life, and we forget the joy that a kind word or gesture brings to another person and how to apologize or admit when we do something wrong, or at the least communicate properly to the wrong party. Stepping off my soapbox for now. Thanks for listening. And remember, I'm just a person sharing my randomness. If you find that there is a need for further research or discussion on something, please reach out to a professional. I can be found on most social media platforms and podcast platforms as the randomness of E. So be sure to like, follow, and subscribe so you can keep up with all my random thoughts. Comments, questions, and suggestions are always welcome. Just post it on one of my pages. Looking forward to this journey. Also, feel free to listen to previous episodes of E Says, P Says. Unfortunately, we are currently on hiatus for a bit while the Mister is convalescing. You can also check out our website, mockmediagroup.com, where you can listen and learn about all things mock. Want to do more? Support us by filling our cup at buymeacoffee.com. Mock Media Group, or subscribe on any podcast platform so you don't miss an episode.